Your body has a night shift, a cleanup crew that activates when you sleep. And there's one ancient tool that can supercharge this process. Tonight, we're breaking down what happens when you apply castor oil before bed, not the fluffy claims. The actual biochemistry, because this isn't about wellness trends. This is about understanding how a 4,000-year-old remedy plugs directly into your body's repair systems. Here's what most people miss. Sleep, or isn't rest. It's when your body performs maintenance. Your lymphatic system drains waste from your brain. Your liver processes toxins. Your cells repair damage from the day. But what if you could amplify that process? What if you could give your body the exact molecular signal it needs to clean deeper, heal faster, and wake up genuinely restored? That's where castor oil comes in. And by the end of this breakdown, you'll understand exactly why applying it before sleep triggers a cascade of biological responses that most people never access. Let's start with what happens in your gut. You apply the oil to your abdomen before bed. By morning, something's different. Your stomach is flatter. The bloat is gone. This isn't water weight. This is mechanical action. Castor oil contains ricinoleic acid. This compound binds to EP3 receptors in the smooth muscle of your intestinal wall. When those receptors activate, they trigger mild contractions. Not painful, just enough to move things along. You're essentially giving your digestive system a gentle squeeze, forcing it to release what's been sitting stagnant. Think of your colon like a fermentation tank. When food sits too long, bacteria break it down, creating gas and pressure. That's the bloat. The oil doesn't just mask it, it clears the tank. You're mechanically removing the backup, but the real transformation happens deeper. In your lymphatic system, there was a study published in the Journal of Naturopathic Medicine that measured what happens when people applied castor oil. Packs to their abdomen, they found a significant increase in lymphocyte production compared to placebo packs. Lymphocytes are your immune system's frontline fighters, white blood cells that hunt down pathogens and damaged cells. When you apply castor oil over your liver or abdomen, you're manually activating your body's sewage system. The lymphatic network doesn't have a pump like your heart. It relies on movement, compression, and chemical signals. The oil provides that signal. It forces lymph fluid to move, pushing toxins out of tissues so your body can eliminate them. This is detoxification at the cellular level, not a juice cleanse, actual waste removal. Now let's talk about sleep itself, because this is the benefit nobody mentions. When you rub castor oil on your eyelids or even apply it to your belly button, the absorption triggers a shift in your nervous system. Specifically, it activates the parasympathetic branch. That's your rest and digest mode, the opposite of fight or flight. The ricinoleic acid reduces inflammation. Chronic inflammation keeps cortisol elevated. Cortisol is your stress hormone. When cortisol stays high at night, melatonin can't rise. Melatonin is what puts you to sleep and keeps you there. By lowering inflammation, the oil allows cortisol to drop. When cortisol drops, melatonin rises. You drift off faster. You stay asleep longer. You wake up without that groggy, unrefreshed feeling. This is biochemistry, not placebo. Then there's your skin. Most people spend hundreds on creams that sit on the surface. Castor oil doesn't sit, it penetrates. It's a humectant, meaning it pulls moisture from the air into your skin. But because the molecules are small enough to penetrate deep layers, it does something most moisturizers can't. It stimulates collagen and elastin production from the inside. The fatty acids in the oil fill gaps in your skin matrix. They neutralize free radicals that break down cellular structure. You're not just hydrating, you're repairing. Apply it to your face before bed. By morning, your skin looks plumper, smoother, like you just had a professional treatment. Because you kind of did. You just gave your skin the raw materials it needed to rebuild itself overnight. What about pain? If your knees click or your back aches, castor oil works as a natural anti-inflammatory. It intercepts substance P. That's the chemical your nerves use to transmit pain signals to your brain. By blocking substance P and reducing tissue inflammation, the oil doesn't just mask pain, it allows the joint to heal. A 2009 study found it effective for managing knee osteoarthritis, not by numbing the area, by increasing circulation and reducing the inflammatory load. You're lubricating the gears and giving the tissue room to repair. Now here's where it gets interesting for anyone dealing with hair loss. Castor oil became famous on social media for growing hair, but the mechanism is precise. Ricinoleic acid inhibits a protein called prostaglandin. PGD2. High levels of PGD2 are directly linked to hair loss in both men and women. By blocking this protein and increasing blood flow to the scalp, you're waking up dormant follicles, eyebrows, eyelashes, receding hairlines. You're feeding the root. It's not a miracle. It's molecular intervention. For anyone with scars or stretch marks, the oil penetrates deep enough to break down fibrous tissue. Scar tissue is just disorganized connective tissue, hard, inflexible. Over time, castor oil softens that structure and encourages new, organized tissue growth. It won't erase a scar overnight, but consistent use fades stretch marks and smooths surgical scars. It works on acne scars too, dissolving the waxy plugs in your pores instead of creating them like heavier oils do. Your immune system also gets a boost. Your thymus gland is where immune cells are trained. As you age, it shrinks. Castor oil applied to the chest over the thymus or lymph nodes supports this. Gland. It increases T-cell activity. If you feel a cold coming on or you're just run down, applying the oil to your chest before bed is like reinforcing your immune system while you sleep. And if you wake up with dry, gritty eyes, the problem isn't lack of water, it's lack of oil. Your tears evaporate too fast. Applied carefully to the eyelids, not in the eye, the lipids in castor oil stabilize your tear film and unclog the meibomian glands. You wake up without that sandpaper feeling, but here's the part that matters most. If you get the wrong oil, you're doing more harm than good. Most castor oil is extracted using hexane. Hexane is a chemical solvent, a byproduct of crude oil refining. It's a neurotoxin. It pulls the oil out of the seed efficiently, but it leaves residues behind. If you're applying hexane-processed oil to your skin every night, you're absorbing that neurotoxin. You're poisoning the system you're trying to clean. Then there's the plastic problem. Ricinoleic acid is a plasticizer. If you buy castor oil in a plastic bottle, it leaches BPA and phthalates from the plastic into the oil. When you rub that on your thyroid or ovaries, you're dosing yourself with endocrine disruptors that mimic estrogen. The rule is simple: hexane-free, cold-pressed, glass bottle only. If it doesn't say all three, don't use it. Standard advice tells you your symptoms are just part of life. Take an anti-inflammatory for the pain. Take a laxative for the gut. They treat the smoke and ignore the fire. You now know the fire is stagnation. Waste sitting in tissues, inflammation blocking repair, a lymphatic system that needs manual activation. You have a tool that costs almost nothing. It's been used for thousands of years, and it's now validated by modern biochemistry. Tonight, apply the pack. Wear an old shirt because it stains. Go to sleep, and let your body's night shift finally do its job. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on an old remedy, let me know in the comments which benefit surprised you most. And if you want more breakdowns that strip away the fluff and show you what actually works, make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next one.